Oh! Welcome back. Paul Maglev here. It's that time of the year again. The one where people on the internet ask me where I've been. And this time the short answer is getting stuck making a video reviewing Pokémon Go. But, as you can plainly see from the lack of videos this year, that was not one of my better ideas. The original plan was to invest only 2 weeks of time making a video on whether Pokémon Go was any good or not. I thought it was a good idea, considering 2021 was the game's 5th anniversary this year, and to celebrate, they offered players the chance to perform in-game research tasks to earn a shiny version of a mythical Pokémon called Mew, the rarest shiny mythical Pokémon of all, for a small nominal fee, of course. Yet here I am, basically a year later, with an unproductive addiction to a game that has contributed more physical and emotional pain than my bout with cancer. Now admittedly, this is an oversimplified version of what happened to me this year, because a lot of family activities occurred along with the job hunts that occupationally returned me to square one. But more on that later. At this point, I am chained to my phone like a stereotypical millennial, just struggling to get it together. But if you want a short answer as to whether the game is good or not after 5 years of troubleshooting, the answer is no. The game was never a good idea, and it never will be. In theory, Pokémon Go should have entertained Pokémon fans in between current and future Pokémon games released on Nintendo consoles. It also, hypothetically, provides players another reason to be active outside, having fun with friends while enjoying nature. Not that the public had a shortage of either of those, of course. It's also the only Pokémon game that lets players acquire certain mythical Pokémon that weren't constantly available in mainline Pokémon games after completing certain in-game research tasks or raid battles. This also includes all the variants of Deoxys, plus game-exclusive mythicals Meltan and Melmetal under certain conditions. There are also higher base rate chances of finding shiny Pokémon in wild encounters compared to most Pokémon games published after Generation 2, as well as chances for players to catch a variety of costumed event Pokémon. But does Pokémon Go offer anything else good? Unfortunately, no. Because outside of the Pokémon-themed packaging and the gimmick of augmented reality, Niantic managed to make a pretty mediocre Pokémon game, assuming Pokémon Go even deserves to count as one.
Nice.
It's astonishing, really, because with a franchise as financially successful as Pokémon, whose vast game roster offers a clear roadmap detailing what makes a great Pokémon game versus a bad one, how could the developers fall so flat? Its execution was so rushed and poorly thought out that it deserves a review that is equally as rushed and poorly thought out. Wait, I'm not done yet! The problem is that after multiple drafts detailing Pokémon Go's problems, I don't think I can concisely and eloquently describe how much of a train wreck Pokémon Go is. But, long story short, Pokémon Go is a mobile game produced by Niantic Inc. in collaboration with the Pokémon Company, Nintendo, and Google. It's available in these app stores, and likely more, but none of those app stores offer a consistent age rating, for some reason. The main selling point was its ability to use augmented reality to bring the experience of Pokémon games to life. The game accomplishes this by allowing players to find Pokémon based on their real-world locations, then catch them by superimposing those Pokémon over the live camera feed from the player's smart device. Combine this with some of the core mechanics from classic Pokémon games in conjunction with the core mechanics of Niantic's original augmented reality game Ingress, and that's pretty much it. Hey, I'm still not done yet. Sure, that's all well and good, but there are a host of serious issues with this game. This includes first-hand experience showing the game's main feature of augmented reality frequently crashing the game, even on the latest devices. Sometimes the game just crashes because it feels like it. If that wasn't enough of a problem, the game's pacing also doesn't respect the player's time, because accessing certain content or reaching certain goals might take months, if not years to reach, when more enjoyable game experiences can be finished in an afternoon, while still maintaining high replay value. The game's freemium business model is also more sadistic than other games I've played in the past, like League of Legends. But wait, there's more! The execution of the Kanto Tour, an in-game event celebrating Pokémon Go's 5th anniversary on February 20th, was a complete disaster. Because large swaths of America lost power that week due to a litany of winter storms that swept the country through February, and Niantic didn't postpone the event until America's power grid recovered. There was no excuse for this, since Niantic headquarters is based in the US and likely knew about the unusual winter hazards that month. It was also frustrating how ticketed content from the Kanto Tour events wound up in the hands of people who didn't pay for it. Because so long as those players jumped through all the hoops, they basically got a shiny Mew for free. You can imagine how I felt about that. But there's more to Pokemon Go than just Niantic's gross incompetence. Nothing goes to the core of what's wrong with Pokemon Go quite like Niantic's disregard for the safety, privacy, and life of their players, as well as the communities they live in. This includes the fact that Pokemon Go collected unparalleled user data at launch, especially for Google account holders of iOS devices, which privacy advocacy groups like the Electronic Privacy Information Center alleged violated FTC privacy policies. But that's not surprising considering how Niantic's CEO was previously caught up in Google's Y-Spy scandal. To add insult to injury, some Pokestops and gyms were placed where they didn't belong, like Arlington National Cemetery, the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Park, and many more. Of the locations explicitly mentioned, however, only the Pokestops and gyms at Arlington National Cemetery remain. When it comes to player safety, Pokemon Go might also rank last, since it expects players to go outside to experience everything the game offers. Which is a problem because it's not always safe or convenient to play outside. Like when it's late at night, the local neighborhood isn't safe, the weather is bad, or when there's a natural disaster, like a once-in-a-century pandemic. What really punctuates how harmful going outside to play Pokemon Go can be might be the fact that Pokemon Go caused more property damage, injury, and death than any other video game I could think of. A minimum of 22 deaths have been confirmed worldwide in the press by 2020, according to the news aggregator PokemonGoDeathTracker.com, but there are likely more. In fact, an estimated 256 deaths and $2 to $7.3 billion worth of damages could have occurred across America in the first 148 days alone, according to peer-reviewed research. And that may be only a fraction of the estimated havoc this game wreaked at certain points since release. I wish I could say that was all that was wrong with Pokemon Go and Niantic, but I'm not even close to done, because we haven't even started talking about how awful the gameplay itself is. In fact, describing all those problems piecemeal would have to be a future endeavor, because I lack the time and the energy to say everything I really want to before the year wraps up. Either that, or I just have to let all my anguish go without speaking my piece. Has Niantic learned their lesson? It certainly doesn't seem like it, considering Niantic earned enough money from Pokemon Go to not only revamp their original game Ingress into Ingress Prime, but also rehash their augmented reality game formula with a Harry Potter theme, with the game Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Like, really, Niantic? After everything J.K. Rowling said on Twitter, and the controversies of her publication of Troubled Blood? Fortunately, the market has spoken! And Wizards Unite is being cancelled. Sadly, nobody's getting their deposits or loved ones back after all the damage Niantic has done with their games, so the company can go slam its fingers on a car door for all I care. The developers over at the Pokemon Company and Nintendo didn't learn their lesson either, because they created yet another freemium game called Pokemon Unite, a multiplayer online battle arena with even worse public acclaim. Pokemon Go was a mistake. Despite Pokemon Go's novel premise, the game only has a fraction of the features found in Pokemon's console games, restricts remaining features behind a paywall, then combines that with all the problems of going outside. Sure, the game provided me several opportunities to connect with plenty of good people, but it came at the expense of facing the worst social encounters in this decade so far. The game should serve as a warning to future developers that just because they can, doesn't mean they should. In the end, I hope you take my advice and avoid Pokemon Go as best you can to avoid making the same mistakes I did. And if you really need legitimate mythical or shiny Pokemon so bad, get them from r/Pokemon trades. Should you want to try Pokemon Go despite my warnings, keep essentials like these close by, which decent malls and parks are full of. Dress according to the weather, be prepared for emergencies, and remember that Pokemon Go hosts the strongest iteration of Team Rocket of any Pokemon game, if only because random game patches misbalance the clunky combat mechanics. With this review finally over, I can return to playing games like they were originally intended, in the comfort of home to escape the insanity of the outside world. But hey, at least Pokemon Go doesn't suck eggs as hard as Pokemon Rumble Rush did.